I made $8,000 just this week alone. And as you see from the dashboard, I made 40K this month already, and we still got some days left in the month. Got the stats here to show you, about an 80 win percentage. Boom, boom, boom. And just so let me go ahead and fact check. This TradeZilla is connected to, my live account right here, which, I'll show y'all this too. Make sure y'all see everything you need to see, just so hey, I'm really making money in the markets, and I'm gonna tell you exactly the steps that you need to follow so you can start, printing this money too. But just to go ahead and show y'all, right? You can see the past recent trades I've taken. Had a losing day today, this Friday, but overall, you see this on my live account, all linked up to the same data that you're getting right here on TradeZilla. So let's go ahead, now that I've shown you a reason, now that I got your attention, so see what results are realistic for you. Now let's go ahead and jump into the trade example. Once again, y'all, you can see this is the live trade. So this is while I was actually screen recording in this beautiful entry right here. John Wick entry off the SPY model. You can see the history and how we've been doing this month so far. Once again, just documenting everything for y'all so you can see exactly how these trades play out. So just showing y'all this real quick. And now we're about to jump into how you can start catching these trades consistently. Like I said, using the SPY model. Let's get it. So first things first. Now, in this week, right, I made about $8,000 this week. But as you can see from the calendar, it was really all in this one setup on Wednesday. So what I'm going to be teaching y'all today is what I like to call the SPY model, right? And for those of you who don't know why I'm calling it the SPY model, now it's for two reasons. One, first thing being the S&P 500, in the stock market world, whatever, is also called SPY. But obviously, y'all know the way we trade it, right? It could be SPX 500 for you. It could be ES if you're trading, futures and stuff. Or from my stock options people, they trade SPY. So that's the first reason, it's in the name. But not only that, on the technical side, let me teach y'all how to spy on the motherfucking markets and get you a perfect entry point, perfect exit, and get out and be done, right? So let's go ahead and skip over to Wednesday. And I did actually just buy the TradingView Premium for y'all. Y'all know I don't really care for all this extra split screens and shit. But, for teaching purposes, right? Y'all been showing love. I asked y'all for 200 likes on the last video. Y'all turned me up quick. We hit the 200 couple days. Hey, I'm happy with the support. As long as y'all supporting me, I'm gonna keep bringing y'all the sauce. So boom, ended up buying the TradingView Premium just so I could show y'all really what I want you to see. So let's go ahead first. Let me change this background. Follow. All right, boom. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and look at, as y'all know, I trade New York session primarily. So let's go ahead and all right. So the first thing y'all know about NAS and S&P is they correlate a lot, right? Meaning, most likely, if price is bullish on NAS, it should also be bullish on S&P, vice versa, right? They should have somewhat of a mirror reflection. They correlate very well together. So they should ultimately be flowing together and be showing similar price action together, right? If you didn't know that, now you know. And if you didn't know that, it sounds like you need to go watch all my old videos. I see some of y'all in the comments asking about, oh, how do you do the Fibonacci and boom, 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 this and that. Just go check out my other videos and all the sauce is here for you. But let me get to the point, y'all. My bad. These videos, I be thinking they gonna be quick. We already 5 minutes in. I be thinking they gonna be quick, but I get the yapping sometimes, which I hope y'all appreciate the yap, man. But I forgot to switch over. All right, let's change this. Let's change this chart to S&P 500. And now I'm gonna show y'all two examples. I'm gonna show y'all two examples today. One being the banger trade. Y'all saw me run up a bag off this one trade alone, right? I'm gonna show y'all that one. But then not only that, I'm gonna also show you. Okay, boom. So first things first, I want y'all to take note of this so far already of what I'm showing you, right? What I just said was price should align together. When it comes to trading NQ and ES or NASDAQ, and the S&P 500, they should be aligning together, right? We should be getting very similar market structure. Everything should be very similar within each other, right? So let's look at this morning so far. Right? We had our lows down here, right? And you can see, my mouse, it shows where I'm at on S&P, and it also shows where I'm at on NAS. If you look over to both sides, right? Boom, 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 you see it. So this was our low of the morning on S&P. Obviously, you can see on NAS, right? We're around here, or shit. This is the 5 minute on NAS. So let me go ahead to the 1 minute for y'all just to make this even more clear. Boom, Wednesday. All right, bet. So let's go back to what we were looking at. Our low of the morning leading into New York session, right? Our pre-New York low was down here on S&P, but it was up there on NAS, right? So, that's just something to consider, but y'all know ultimately we're not really moving too much until 9:30, right? So first things first, at 9:30, this was the first trade that I actually did end up taking. So if I click on this, y'all see I took this sell on NAS first, made a quick buck, but then the real money came on, going long on S&P 500. So I'm going to show y'all that right. Oh shit. I'm going to show y'all that right here, right? So I took this short right in here. First things first, price came up right into this fair value gap. I'm not here to explain this strategy. Y'all know my main strategy, right? Today I'm going over the SPY model. So boom. If you don't know my strategy, go watch the other videos. But I took this sell right in here, boom, and we made some profits. Cool, pretty quick. Got in, got out, done for the day. Now, y'all know normally when I take one trade for the day, I'm normally done at that point. But I couldn't hold back once I saw this, I saw this setup. So ultimately, let me get to the point, right? Let me drag this out a little bit too. Okay, so our low of the morning, like I pointed out, was 8:30 down here on S&P, but it was up here on NAS, right? So ultimately, NAS opened up New York with a very bearish market structure, right? We broke these lows. Here, I'm gonna show you actually. We broke some lows, right? We broke some lows. Ultimately here, let me just say this one. We broke this main low right here from 8:30. But if we look at 8:30 on S&P, right? Clear as day. We didn't break any lows. So off rip, like I said, I'm seeing NAS is giving us a lot more bearish structure on this morning. But if we look at S&P, right, what do we get? First of all, these lows stayed protected. So ultimately, on the flip side for S&P, right, I know it's not too bearish, right? I know it can't possibly be too bearish if we're not even breaking the most recent lows, right? So just keep that in mind, most definitely. Now, so, okay, boom. Price broke this structure here, right? As you see on this candle, you see them both align, right? Right here on S&P, right here on NAS, right? They both align when I put my mouse over it. We flooded these lows and continued on. But for S&P, all this is a correction, right? All this is price just retracing down on this side. But like I said, on NAS, it's breaking new lows. So at this point, right, especially with the markets we've been having, right? The market's been extremely bullish. Y'all know, the US markets are pretty normally bullish. So I'm obviously noting that this is just a fake out, right? Now, am I going to get into any buys? I'm going to think, oh, this is a fake out. Let me get into a buy right here. No, you're going to get fucked, right? Boom. So the ultimate thing about the SPY strategy is really getting a clue, right? So we're spying on SPY, right? Y'all know we normally trade NAS, but we're spying on SPY, which is S&P 500. And if we look very closely at this point right here, boom. This was the key factor now. Hey, this was the key factor, y'all, for me right here. Okay, so once again, at this point in the markets, I'm favoring the bulls, right? Although price opened up very bullish on New York, I'm expecting this to just be a retracement back into the buys for the day, right? Now, why do I believe that? Like I said, because although NAS might be tanking, I believe this is just a fake out. Because S&P is giving us great structure here. We had these lows. It came up, boom, whatever. We had whatever, right? Around 950, what's the first thing we can notice on S&P, on S&P? First thing here is a 1 minute order block. Next thing right above it is a 1 minute fair value gap, right? So if we drag that out, obviously you can see what I'm getting at pretty quickly. But before we even just get into that, because y'all know this is just like my core strategy right here, the order blocks, the fair value gaps. Y'all know this is like my core strategy. But what I want to get at right here is, look, on NAS, as you see, like I said, my mouse is hovering above in both areas. NAS or S&P, we made this low. We came up. And when we came up, y'all know what we look for. We look for the order blocks. We look for the fair value gaps. On S&P, all we're doing is looking for price to retrace into this area, right? Retrace into this area, and then we buy right back up. So what's the difference right here in between NAS and S&P 500? Well, the difference between NAS and S&P is, as you see right here, on our way to getting into this retracement, which y'all know we use the Fibonacci. So let's go ahead and pull that from the low to the high. Right? So this is perfect. This is perfect execution right here. But for some of y'all probably might be looking at this point of interest on NAS thinking, okay, NAS is about to give us an opportunity to reverse for the day and we're going to get into buys. Whole time, no. NAS is what's more manipulated right now, right? We know overall price isn't that bullish. Like, I mean, bearish. It came through bearish, but it was ultimately just correcting itself to get right back into the bullish market structure, right? So we already know we're ultimately looking for the point in time when price flips into bullish markets. But like I said, right here on NAS, what happened? It flooded straight through the lows versus as soon as we're flooding through the lows, right? So let's just point this out for you just like this. Here, I'm going to move this stuff real quick for y'all. Let's look at market structure. This is what we call a SMT divergence. So I'm calling it the SPY model right here for y'all. But this is what we also like to call SMT divergence, right? The SPY model. Boom. So if we look here, obviously, like I just said, NAS broke the low. We had our low point. We came up. We broke the low. What's the same thing right here that we got on S&P 500? We had the low point. We came up. We retraced perfectly into what y'all know. You know, we trade off of fair value gaps. We trade off of order blocks. We trade off of Fibonacci retracements. So this is an A+ setup right here on S&P 500 versus obviously you can see it collapsed right through the lows on NAS. So what does that mean for us? Fuck NAS, right? Yeah, we primarily trade NAS, but fuck it. Why would we, if we know we're looking for buys, right? We're looking for a bullish market structure. We have an A+ setup right here on S&P 500, which we know is very, very similar and correlates very much with NAS. Why would we not look at both of them together and pick the better setup, right? The better setup is this, right? Let's look at this right here. We have an upwards trend from this low to the retracement is upwards. On NAS, from this low to the retracement is not a retracement. It's a new low. You feel me? So boom, off rip. We already know just by spying on S&P 500, you know, we trade NAS, but we're spying on S&P 500 so we can see which one is better, right? If we have two of them that work very well together, let's just pick the best one of the day. So we're going to spy on S&P, and that's how we get this SPY model right here. Boom. So now we just leave the rest of the extra confluences in, right? Fair value gap right here. Boom. Order block right here. Boom. Fibonacci retracement from the low to the most recent high right here. Boom. Now let's go ahead and target our highs of the morning so far. We put our TPs up in here, right? So we're sniping the low of the range, not really the low of the morning, but at least the low that we got for New York, basically, right? This is a perfect entry right here. We got the order block, we got the fair value gap, we got the fib retracement. So let's just say we entered right perfectly on our OTE retracement. Boom. And let's say we put our, which is, y'all know, this is how we trade every single time. So this ain't no hindsight shit. Like I said, I showed y'all the goddamn sniper that I took on this Wednesday. So I hope y'all are following along. But we go ahead and enter here. Stops right at the bottom of the order block. We can target our new highs. And as you see, what does that grant us? A 1-to-6, almost a 1-to-7 risk to reward ratio. You can't ask for more. Yeah, you can ask for more than that in the markets, but honestly, at that point, you're just being greedy. If you can consistently identify that, even if it only happens, well, I'm gonna show y'all two examples from this week alone, right? But even if you can only find a good A+ setup like this once a week,
you're risking 1 to make 6 or almost 1 to make 7, right? So for somebody who's risking $1,000 like me on this trade, right, for me to be up at this point $7,000 in profits, obviously you're going to be extremely profitable risking 1 for 7 or 1 for 6, whatever it may be. We don't even have to round up here. We can round down. 1 to 6 risk reward ratio, you're going to be extremely profitable, even if you can only find this setup once per week. Now, hopefully this does make sense to y'all, right? Price came through. We had a bearish moment where we opened up bearish, but ultimately, right, to me, this is just a retracement because we have structure points on S&P, right? We might be flooding through lows on NAS. NAS might be the leader of the day when it comes to bearish movements, but overall, we're not expecting bearish movements today. We're expecting price to be bullish. We just need to find the right opportunity of when it's going to flip bullish, and we're going to get in. We're going to spy on S&P 500, and we're going to get that perfect SPY model entry, A+, done. Done for the day right here. So hopefully that does make sense to y'all, right? If it doesn't, like I said, I keep preaching to y'all. All you gotta do is, it's free. It don't cost you nothing, but all my videos are 10, 15, 20 minutes, right? It's gonna cost you maybe 15, 20 minutes to just study up on, you spend an hour, you watch 3 of my videos, or you watch my entire full course that's on here on YouTube for free, right? You're gonna see massive amounts of success if you just take what I'm teaching you and apply it. The proof is, shit, I get DMs every single day of people telling me, yo, boom, 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 I've been watching, studying YouTube videos. It's already paying off. And then not only that, obviously, my mentorship students, they're working with me week by week. They're getting all this week by week, right, on the back end. So y'all get the YouTube sauce, that's cool. But then, my actual students, our live trading sessions, our coaching sessions, boom, boom, boom. If you take this very serious, even just the free content alone on YouTube, you will be extremely profitable, right? So let's go ahead and jump into our next opportunity. Our next SPY model opportunity, which was today, actually, this Friday. So I'm going to go over to the 5-minute on this example. And I'm going to also go on the 5-minute on NAS, right? What time are we looking at here? 10. So, okay, Thursday. Nope. We want Friday around 10. Okay, cool. Right? This is the correlation between NAS and S&P 500. But I want y'all to know the little bit of differences, right? Look at price here. 29,000 on NAS versus 7,000 on S&P. So basically, those price differences really only mean one thing. A lot more volatility, I would say, on NAS, right? Because price can move hundreds of dollars up and down versus, S&P 500. It's going to take a lot for it to move 100 points, right? So ultimately, price can move 2, 3, 4, 500 points quickly on NAS versus it might do 10 to 15 points for a big move on S&P 500, right? So ultimately, you could look at NAS as a lot more dramatic, I would say. The price movements are a lot more dramatic. As we see from our 9:30 open right here on NAS, we tanked, right? We tanked off 200 points, 250 points right here. And in the midst of that, we broke a lot of these lows, right? We broke a lot of these lows. But like I said, ultimately, with the overall higher time frame bias that we have and understanding the market logic of what we're trading in the current state it's in, we know ultimately price is more bullish regardless, right? So it might open up and correct itself at New York Open. It might have been extremely bullish all night. So yeah, New York, it might open up, it might do some corrections and then continue right on, right? Cool. But like I said, on NAS, is it really a correction or is it kind of manipulating? Y'all know Fridays are a lot more manipulative. NAS, I feel like, just dumped down and manipulated a lot of people, sweeping all these lows for it to finally come back up. And, now they're all thinking, damn, it just stopped me out and then it went right back. You feel me? That's what happens, especially on a Friday. But with us spying on S&P 500, right, we could look at the differences. S&P, okay, all it did was, it started to drop off a little bit. 9:30 hit, it corrected back up, and then it just, dropped off a little bit more, right? Ultimately, our lows are all the way down here for the morning, and we got nowhere close to that. Versus me hovering over this point on S&P, you see where it shows on NAS, right? On NAS, we're here, which price broke through within the first few minutes of New York session. on NAS around here. So ultimately, once again, we know prices overall, market structure wise, gonna be more bullish. We just have to identify the best point in time to enter, right? Don't fall for the fake outs, the fake breakout to the downside. We have a higher time frame bias that tells us price should be bullish. We understand that this is NAS, US markets that are most of the time bullish. Don't fall for the fake out, right? Don't fall for this false breakout to the downside. You know, don't get me wrong. You could have got in and could have got a lot of opportunities to make money, but overall, to have a more high confirmable setup, right? This is what we want to wait on. So ultimately, this isn't a setup that I took, so I don't want to get too in depth about it, right? With my students, I tell them all the time, I'm not sure about YouTube if I've said this before, but I only like to show real deal setups that I actually took and explain what I was actually thinking and doing in that moment, right? I don't like to just go into the chart to say, oh, you could have did this, coulda, shoulda, woulda. I don't like that coulda, shoulda, woulda type of shit, right? I like to show y'all what I actually did do. So the first example was the real example. Boom, right? A plus setup caught. Real live action. But this one was just me, you know, I took a small L on this Friday right here. Got manipulated real quick. Lost like $900. I'm not tripping. Still up 8K for the week, right? That's what risk reward allows you to do. You can take some L's. You'll still be good, right? So, boom. Overall, I ended off my session pretty early after I took that quick L. But looking back at price, right? Like I said, this is just hindsight. So I don't want to act like, you know, super expert here, like I took this trade, right? But ultimately, this still aligns with my strategy and still aligns with another example I could teach y'all with. The more, the merrier, right? The more repetitions I can help you guys get, the more you'll learn. And for anybody watching, right, don't just watch me right now. I'm going to make it look pretty simple, make it look pretty easy when you're just looking at my charts. I want you to, if you have two screens right now, go to your, I'm gonna post this on Friday. It's Friday now. I'm gonna post this today. So if you're watching this tonight or anytime Saturday, Sunday, right? That's where you should be back testing and mastering your strategy anyways, right? Over the weekend. You can either go out and go club and go bullshit and go play video games and go waste your life, or you can actually put in some more work, put in some more hours, grind more towards this skill set so that you can unlock that freedom for the rest of your life, right? So for the people who's watching this Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, go back to your charts August 21st and just go fill in the stuff I'm, you know, when I'm marking up order blocks for everybody, guys, boom, 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 go fill this in for yourself so you can also get used to identifying it. Excuse me, y'all. Get used to identifying it on your own, right? Now, it's not really on your own because I'm really showing you. But like I said, while I'm showing you, you go do it as well so you get more comfortable with, like I said, being able to identify it when it's time for you to identify it, right? So what I'm getting at is, right, like I said, NAS is a lot more dramatic. Right here, this is fair price. This is fair movements. All this, you know, consolidated a little bit, broke out of that range, retraced right into this. So I already had it marked up for y'all, but you can see it clear as day. Retrace, you know, we consolidated a bit, broke out of this range, broke above New York open, right? So at that point, all we know is what's likely going to happen is price is going to retrace into this fair value gap. And we're going to continue on, right? Like I said, I'm not going to mark up no long position and show you the stop loss and this and that because I didn't take this trade. But just overall market knowledge and picking up on these concepts, just seeing it over and over is also going to help you, right? I just want to show y'all over and over what's going on right here. So, like I said, with the lows down here being very protected and untapped versus the lows down here got smacked, right? On NAS, it flooded through a bunch of these lows versus S&P. All these are very highly protected, got nowhere close to hitting. That tells me price is a lot more bullish on S&P 500. So for this range, we know this is our opening. This is our open, our New York open. This was the range that we got. This was the high. This was the low. This is our breakout. Here's our retracement right into our fair value gap. And here's our continuation model. It's really that simple. But me spying on S&P 500 let me know that this was the better opportunity versus the two, right? I'm primarily on NAS, but I'm spying on S&P. Why? Because it's the SPY model. This is what this allows you to, some extra opportunity that this will allow you if you take the SPY model. So boom, this fair value gap right here, pretty clean. Retrace right into it, hit the 50% level, continued on, target these new highs. What do we do here on NAS, right? On NAS, this retracement we got, this entry point we would have got right here is right here on NAS, just randomly, it didn't give us any points of interest, right? It didn't give us any type of points of interest. You could have looked at, okay, we broke out of this range. There was really nothing much here. Even if, okay, nah, it just doesn't work the same, right? It didn't give us any type of clean. You could have said, okay, now here, this was more clean. Price broke out of this range. It left a fair value gap. But guess what? By now, we already hit TP on S&P 500, right? We already got in down here in the middle of NAS, just looking like it's not doing much, just randomly going up. S&P presented us an entry point. There's no entry point on NAS. S&P presented the entry point. So we already entered here and we're already taking profits up here. While on NAS, which is less bullish, which is giving us a less of a buy entry, right? Since it's less bullish, it's giving us less of a good chance to get in for buys, right? It makes sense. We retraced down into maybe this fair value gap, but by the time, we already played out for S&P. So by the time this hits, say we did enter on NAS, all we did was consolidate, and hit stop loss. Versus on S&P 500, like I said, we didn't do too much this morning. We had the high of New York right here, low here. We broke out of the range, giving us another sign that is bullish. We left the fair value gap as well. All we know that is price is most likely going to retrace into the fair value gap and continue back on, which is exactly what it did. We didn't get that opportunity on NAS. So you taking advantage of the SPY model will get you more opportunities, more higher probable opportunities, so you can feel comfortable and feel confident when you're actually getting in for a low risk, high reward setup. Now, if this makes sense to y'all, comment pancake. If you watch all the way to the end, comment pancake for me. Like I said, y'all know how it goes, man. When I see the support, it only motivates me even more and more and more to keep bringing y'all some sauce, right? So if you comment pancake, I'm gonna know you really watch to the end. I appreciate all the love. Much love to all of y'all. And if y'all need some more examples, let me know anything specifically in the comments. Look forward to the breaker block video because a lot of y'all did comment breaker block on my other video. So I got that one coming next for y'all. Y'all stay tuned. Be easy. We out.